Yeah. But I'm literally blown away at how intuitively you seem to have gone through some of this process. If you were to sort of, in your mind, think back and bookend when you started more consciously trying to get to grips with things through to today, what time period are we talking about?
Probably towards the end of, so I would say from 2016 would probably be when I started just trying to be a bit more like, no, I'm going to treat myself well. So I started getting massages, and I thought this was really indulgent, But I thought, no, what's £30 to do something that's just for me, and it's at the end of busy shifts, and then started getting a membership at baths, and so after really busy shifts, just being able to do something that was really indulgent and treating myself well. It was then a space where I was getting the Headspace app and just understanding a little bit more about the power of meditation and how I can bring that into a healthier way of living.
But where did
Amazing.
that come from? Where did that thought come from to actually start downloading Headspace and listening to it and believing in it? Because it's quite woo to especially clinicians, isn't it? Clinicians don't believe in that sort of thing, really. It's becoming, more into the forum now, but many don't actually believe in alternative therapies and alternative medicine.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, it is something that in healthcare, you'd think it would be something that would be really well considered and thought about. It was actually someone that was in a different industry. I think he was working, my friend works in Facebook, and they're really geared towards how they help their workforce think better, think optimally. And he encouraged me to think about some of the resources that, and I think there's a lot of stigmatism about doing work on your mental health, but I think the way of thinking about it in terms of, well, you get a personal trainer to work on your physical health. Why not have someone that's really trying to optimize your thoughts and feelings into a way that serves you best?
I love that.
So I think it was around that time.
You went to an external source. Again, I think that's something that both Tim and I would like to encourage, and that's what we talk to our clients about. When you are feeling stuck in your career, it's good to get perspective from your teammates and from the people who are in the same line of business. But it's often better to actually go and seek perspectives from people in different fields, because they will give you a whole new story. And about my journey. And my journey started because I started immersing myself in a different world altogether. All the time I was in my old world and saying, I want to be better. I want to do better. They're like, yeah, you're great. You're really inspirational. You can do it. And I didn't actually ever find the resources to become better, to become more effective. It's not until I went outside of that forum that I started seeing how others were doing it. And I thought, hang on a minute, there is a different life out there. Just because I've been in this comfortable bubble for 25 years doesn't mean that this is all there is. So it's going out and seeking different perspectives is something that I really encourage in people when I do motivational speaking as well. Seek different perspectives. You don't have to listen to everything that everybody says, but seeking perspective is really, really important, I think.
Yeah, I think getting perspective on the whole thing was really, I think, because in healthcare in particular, mindset of people is often quite fixed in how their meritocracy, in how they value themselves, enshrouded in, am I getting good grades? Have I got enough letters after my name? you know, how many more exams can I do to show that I am worthy? And that's all well and good until you qualify as a doctor. And actually, you're then kind of spat out the end, having been quite spoon-fed. You know, you're like a little bird just opening your mouth to get fed all the information and all the life experience that you need to know. But then you kind of have to do it yourself after you're out the other end. And I think that's where a lot of people falter, actually, is because there's suddenly no defined meritocracy or recognition necessarily for when you have to deal with something where, you know, even when it's something really good, where you've broken bad news in a really effective way and the family appreciate that, you can feel good about it. But if your whole way of you getting praise is from a senior source and that's not being directly delivered, then it can feel, well, how am I, in whose eyes am I worthy? And I think that's when you can begin to fall apart. And it was when seeing all my other friends who didn't necessarily have good grades, but had enough freedom and flexibility to try and make their own path. Like one of my friends who's super satisfied with his job up until the pandemic, he was a guest entertainer on some of the best cruise liners in the world. And he got terrible grades at school. And I felt kind of envious. Like, how have you sussed it out? You seem so happy. You're doing something that you're so talented in and you're getting all this recognition and traveling the world. And here's me slaving away, getting less than someone as a McDonald's manager would get, and feeling like this is not right and something needs to change. And
that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And hence Medizone, hence your website. One of the things you're doing, you're actually encouraging the young medical students to go to the ward more, to speak to people, to find out the patient stories. And that's something that doesn't get done. And I think it's assumed that just because they are getting a doctor in front of their name, then they become this trusted person. And I was speaking to a super coach that I met on a different forum the other day, and he runs training programs for people who want to become coaches. And he had a particular therapist on his course who wanted to learn about the coaching world. And initially she said something like, I had this patient come to me and I knew he was really, really difficult and he just wasn't trusting me. And we're like, what was she? And he said to her, what is it about you that is prompting this person to trust you? Because I'm qualified. Because I've got this degree and I've got this kind of, title in front of me. I am qualified. I need to be trusted. And then no, the trust isn't given. Trust is actually earned. What did you do for this patient to earn their trust? So that is the mindset of many with, not particularly, not everybody in the healthcare, but, some people with titles assume automatically that just because they've got this title, they've now earned the right to be trusted or respected. But both trust and respect need to be earned. You can't expect people to just blindly do it. When they do, that's when you're in trouble.
Yeah, trust comes up as a factor a lot of the work we've done in the past, sort of workplace and sort of team development and leadership stuff as well. This becomes a factor. But there's also another way it works, and Vafa and I famously always have slightly different takes on things. Another way it works quite quickly is that there's also the scenario whereby, particularly I guess in that kind of like medical setting, it might be reasonable to assume that most people might think that the moment the clinician walks in the door with and signals that they are the doctor, either with the stethoscope or the white coat or the badge or whatever it is, but that can disappear in an instant if the first evidence the person gets is that, whoa, hang on a minute, this isn't what I need out of this engagement. So if that person bustles in and suddenly they're referring to them by their ailment, or obviously they've got to get out of here quickly and they're not taking that moment to do whatever that individual needs to establish trust, and it might be as simple as a few moments dialogue or conversation about the weather or the food, because everyone establishes that different. So it's, sometimes people will give it based on those labels, but they will also withdraw it immediately if their needs for trust are challenged or not met very quickly. So
and
I
that's
often say
happening
as well
more
that
and more, isn't it? I mean, in the good old days, doctors were just, the word of doctors were the word of God. But now people are more challenging, aren't they, Ross? I'm sure you find this, everybody goes to Dr. Google as well, don't they, before they come and seek advice from you guys.
No, they do. And there's something about being able to remove the ego from that setting. And there's some doctors that whose identity I think feels very challenged by any resistance to their opinion, and it's a very challenging thing to try and deal with, certainly. Yeah.